I'm here with Tanguy Bukasa. He is the leader and CEO, founder, all that good things of the Greenwood Project. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself and the project?
Yeah, so the Greenwood Project we just launched this past July. It's all about connecting with the Black community and keeping the Black dollar in the Black community. Right, so the Greenwood Project is based on Greenwood Avenue, which is the street that Black Wall Street was on. So when I was thinking about how can I truly help the Black community, how can I, elevate us, and not necessarily dealing with racism, because we know that Black Wall Street was Black Wall Street despite Jim Crow, despite this and that. So rather than necessarily focusing on that, my emphasis is on how can Black people win together right now.
So when you talk about the Black community and why you started this, what was the defining moment where you knew that your community needed this specific nonprofit?
To answer that question, I kind of have to go back a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So my freshman year at UMBC was when Freddie Gray died. And was murdered, and it was a pivotal time. I had just gotten to UMBC, I was just in college for the first time. You could see the fire from downtown, from the library of UMBC, it was crazy. So I kind of thought, how can I help? How can I change this stuff? With that being said, Black Lives Matter started and all that 2 years later. I remember I had a Black Lives Matter discussion panel in Frederick. I invited people from UMBC. They came out. It was a great turnout. That's when Philando Castile, Eric Garner, all those people that passed had been murdered. So I had the Black Lives Matter discussion panel, and I felt like I was doing some good. But then the next day, somebody else got murdered, and I was like, wow, this isn't doing as much as I wanted to. Fast forward, I interned with the Maryland General Assembly, helping low-income families in Baltimore City through policies and laws being passed. But Anton Black got murdered in the same way that George Floyd got murdered years earlier, and they created a law, Anton's Law, but it didn't pass when I was interning there. So it was like, okay, I'm helping a little bit, but these laws still aren't being passed that needs to be passed to hold police accountable. So then I'm still brainstorming, it's not this discussion panel, it's not necessarily these laws. Laws can do great good long term, but immediately while we're here in the present, nothing's really happening. So I interned with the Baltimore City Mayor. A lot of promises, a lot of this and that, and again, policies can make great change, but in the meantime, immediately, they're very slow.
Yeah.
So he had these promises. I'm going through West Baltimore, still boards on the windows, still this and that. A lot of issues. So I started planning the Greenwood Project from that, to answer your question, but I was still planning it. I didn't necessarily want to launch it. I didn't necessarily feel ready to launch it. But when George Floyd was murdered, then I decided okay, I have to do something now.
Yeah, now's the time.
Yeah, even if I'm not at 100%, I'm gonna figure it out as I'm going along.
Yeah.
So here we are.
As long as you start, a lot of the times the hardest part is starting, and then you can work on things as you go. You started this, the Greenwood Project was based off the street of that Black Wall Street was on. What is your vision for the new Black Wall Street?
So for my vision for the new Black Wall Street, as we know, the last Black Wall Street was lost. So I don't ever want it to be only one area, only one place is the star of the Black community. So I want to make a modern Black Wall Street, a virtual one, because businesses are virtual, in person, this and that. I want it to be everywhere, in every community. I want the Greenwood Project to have roots in every single Black community, whether it's DC, Baltimore, Tennessee, Texas. So together, that's why I have the phrase Ubuntu, I am because we are. So right now, the Greenwood Project is nothing without the people that support it. Together, as you know, with Good Diggs, offering discounts to from Black-owned businesses to recipients, it allows greater diversity and movement of the Black dollar, and it just helps close the racial wealth gap in this country.
So you are Congolese, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you speak a lot about the Black community as far as the African American standpoint, but you also use a lot of your roots as far as when you talk about how you relate to those certain things. So how has your heritage influenced your vision?
That's a good question. Two ways. First, my grandfather did a lot of work in Congo.
Mm-hmm.
He helped build airports and hospitals and things of that nature to help those people.
Oh, cool.
So he's kind of been my role model. But above all else, my Congolese culture has helped mold me to the person that I am, because a little bit of a history lesson. Congo is the heart of Africa. Like that's its logo. It's literally in the center. It's influenced by all the countries around it, whether it's Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, but it also influences all the places around it. So when I took the phrase Ubuntu, I am because we are, from the South African phrase, I'm not South African, but I still align with that because Congo is influenced by all these places. I am because we are. I'm influenced by all the African countries around me, but I am also who I am because all the African Americans that I've come in contact with, and whether it's helping people in Congo or America, I want to do all of it. So the Congolese culture is definitely always present and pushing me to, center myself in the African diaspora.
Yeah, the Zulu tribe had a lot of things that resonate as far as Africanisms, which is things that are like universal among the Black people. So they're a very good tribe and organization, or however you want to look at them nowadays, to like model a lot of our movements after. So I think it's really cool that you put that into your work, and it's good to see people who are in some sort of like dual consciousness, being like first generation and also African American, and combining that to help both sides, or just in general having an influence in their work. I think that's very important. And yeah, very, very cool. Well, that's all we have.
Right.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for modeling. Yeah.